Hi everyone, this is part 2 of my previous video where I'm actually making some polymer earrings. Alright, so I've conditioned up some clay and made it nice and soft. So now I'm ready to pop it on the board, and I'm going to give it a roll and make it nice and flat. Now, because these are going to be earrings, I don't want them to be too thick, but I don't want them to be too thin either. So I'm trying to get to probably about, I don't know, probably about 2 mil thick. Alright. I'm trying not to get my fingerprints on it. One thing that I do when I do polymer clay is nails, always making mistakes in getting my nails in there. Now you'll notice that I am rolling onto an acrylic sheet. There's a bump there, I'm not sure why. Because I haven't had a lot of success in doing it on my craft mat, and it allows me to pick it up and move it around and do those sorts of things with it as well. I'm just going to put some wrap over. I'm going to practice what I've told you. We're going to work with this one first, so I'm going to need 2 of those. Just going to punch that out, give it a bit of a wiggle. Make sure that's gone all the way through. And then when you pull it up, you can see that there is a bit of a gap in between. So if I pull that up now, I've got a really nice defined flower. And for these ones, I'm also going to need a few of these. So 4 of these for each, so I need 8. So 1. All right, now I can take plastic off. That one back down there gently. Watch the fingers. Now we have all the pieces of the flower. I'll put that to the side for another one. Now for these, I'm going to take the round edge and just squeeze that out a little bit. And I want to do the same for each of these. And then I found that sometimes when you're using your craft knife, you can get under a little bit better. And we can place that to the middle. Now this is where the Sculpey can come in really handy, or one of your small tools as well, so you can smooth out on your polymer piece. So I might just put a little dab of that in as I continue working with these pieces. Now that polymer clay will dry clear, or the Sculpey, sorry, will dry clear, so I'm not too worried about that. And then we might put a little piece in the middle. See how this is getting really sticky? So this is the Kmart one. So little bits like this. If I keep working this, it'll just start sticking to my fingers again. So I'm not sure about this for an addition, but we're going to run with it. And then I'm just going to put some texture in there. You can go ahead and do the same and put some texture in on the other parts. can lift them up. So I'm sort of wanting these leaves to come out a little bit to give it a bit of dimension. Okay. So at this point, I'll get these into the oven. Now, I put them into the oven on a piece of baking paper, and they go in there for, like I said, 15 minutes, 130 degrees. The tricky bit is getting these off the acrylic, but if you very carefully with your straight tool, you can slide it in underneath and it should be fine. And if you've got it up and you notice that there's some edges there that need a bit of rework, you can very, very gently get your tool and do some reworking, or you can wait till after they're baked. So they are my 2 examples, or my pair of earrings so far, made with this punch. So let's put those to the side, and maybe we can do one more. I might do the daisy and see what that comes out like. I'm going to have to condition some more clay here though. As you can see, it really, really, like it's breaking apart. And then when you get it going, it sticks to your fingers. It's it's annoying and frustrating at the same time. All right, so I'm going to warm this up off camera and we'll come back and just do this last one. All right, so let's roll this piece out. I think I'm getting that mark because I've got stuff all over. Just watch that when you're doing yours. Sticky, sticky. And I've got it to about that thickness, so I think that that would be just fine. And this is the one that I'm using this time. Now for those sticky bits here, just get a craft knife and do a bit of a tidy up. You can imagine what this would be like if I didn't use the Glad wrap, because these bits here that are stuck to the Glad wrap would have just been absolute nightmare being stuck to the actual cutter itself. So that is a really great tip that I picked up from other people who do some stuff. If you're really worried about it, obviously these are for my own personal use, so I'm not going to try and sell these at all. So I'm not too worried about the marks on them. I don't think anyone's going to get that close to my ears, to be honest. But obviously if you're making these for market and you're much more experienced than I am, it might be a different story. So I'm just going to roll these into a little ball and tap them into the middle. I see these people online working with these tiny, tiny little miniatures, and I think that they have the absolute patience of saints, those people. There we go. Now obviously these 2 pair of earrings are going to be using these straight back where are they? These pieces. So they'll get glued onto the back of the earring, and then you'll have your piece that slips on behind it once it's in your ears. If you are going to be doing earrings that have got the other method of connecting, this type, so if you're wanting them to be hanging, or if you're connecting a few of them, you're going to need one of these. So what you would do is you would get your pliers and you would cut it down, and you would poke it into the polymer clay, and if you wanted to, you could actually put a little bit of glue that would help it to stay if it tends to want to slip out after it's been baked. But I would cut these off, put that in, and then you can add a little jump ring, and then you can have the dangly earrings. But I'm just going to be using the backing on both of these, not these ones today, but that's how you would go about doing it. So you're going to need, all right, well that's a bit big, but yeah, so this goes in, that goes on, and then this hooks into that. All right. So obviously don't need a jump ring that big, and that's something that I didn't know when I started this, and it's actually really nice to be able to hopefully share something with you that will make it a bit easier if you're getting started. All right. So they are the 4 that I'm actually going to go in and bake. I might just see if I can tidy these up a little bit. It might be a bit hard to do that now, but you know what? I'm pretty happy with that. I'll just put a little detail on the... All right, I'm going to go bake these now, and we'll see what they look like when they come out. Well, the clay has been in the oven. I have gotten it back out of the oven, and I have given it a coat of resin. So just with a light brush, just a light coat, so they're nice and shiny. On the back, to attach them, I've just given it a coat of resin, but put a little dollop of resin there and put the finding on the back so that it sticks. So we have the little floral earrings there, and I've got the backs here to go on like so, so just the plastic backs. I think I have the clips somewhere, but I'm just going to use those. This length is fine. I just tried it in my own ear and it looks absolutely fine. So that's the little flowers. We've got the little daisies as well, which look quite sweet. And then I had these sitting in the tray. I made these some time ago, but I just hadn't put them through the oven. So I did that today as I was making the other pair of earrings. So this is the woolly cow that I showed you a little bit earlier. So this is how it stamps out, and then you put a little bit of black notch in where his eyes are. And then I made some of these florals to put over the top. So I used the picture that was on TEMU to help me. I made the little leaf shapes, rolled up some polymer clay to make the roses. And you'll notice that I have the piece here that is attached. So to add the other parts to that, you need one of these jump rings. So this might be a bit fiddly. I don't have my glasses on at the moment. So adding that in there, and then working out which way you need to add your other piece. There we go. And then grabbing yourself a pair of pliers and closing up that finding. There we go. And that's how you put the piece on. So I'll go ahead and do the other ones now, and that's my little demo of how to make some polymer earrings. Now, obviously I'm not an expert at making polymer jewellery, but I never actually claimed that I was an expert at it before I started making this video. But what I am saying is that with a few different items, you can start creating collections of different types of earrings, looking for some of those punches, or what do you call them? Probably the I don't know, the cutters, punches, that kind of thing, molds that will give you the most bang for buck. And then you can start creating collections that you can either put online, or maybe you can take it to market and see how you go. So it is a lot of fun. It is very addictive, like any craft. And I certainly enjoy making up bits and pieces with the polymer clay. So these are probably well, I tried one. The very first one was an absolute disaster. I was trying to make like a little painting, one with a little paintbrush and a little paint board, but it didn't quite work. These have absolutely fared a lot better than the others, so I'm happy with the way these are turned out. So I guess over time I'd absolutely end up with something that was, I'd end up making some that I'd be comfortable selling to other people. So there you go. One of the other things I did show you that I put in the cart were these little handmade with love cards. Now, this isn't the one for earrings. I bought these ones so that I could make little clear packets, just like this. and you can staple them and have an item inside of it. I could potentially put the earrings in there for sale, but this will give you an idea of what quality the card would be. So they come like it was in the picture, with the holes that you could then put your pieces into and then have them hanging on display. So that's what they look like. So sorry I couldn't show you the others, but that gives you a bit of an idea. Thanks for sticking around and watching part 2 of my polymer clay business idea. Really appreciate it. Don't forget to give us a like if you like what I'm doing, subscribe to the channel for more, and I will see you in the next video.